Again, thank you for your patience. Apologies. In like 9 years, though, this is I think the first time I've been this close and actually past 2:30. Usually I'm here for 45 minutes and waiting for everybody else to show up. So I guess I'm due for one, right? So welcome to College Senate for the spring 2025 semester. And our first meeting of the spring semester, which is wild because it's in February, and we have next week off for break, and then we come back for March, and then we have another break. So, which is great about the spring semester. Not going to complain by any means, but it's just wild that we're having our first meeting and then go off to break, and then it's midterms again already. It's just crazy how quick things go, you know? So with my report, Dr. Sagai and Dr. Nealons are unable to be here today. So as part of the President's report, I'm going to share 2 messages from Chancellor King's office regarding different things that are happening out in the world and what SUNY has given to us as guidance. So the first one comes January 28th, right at the start of the semester and right after Inauguration Day of our current president. So I'm going to just read this quickly. This is from Chancellor King, the SUNY Chancellor. January 28th message to all the colleges. So it says, Dear Presidents, over the past week, we have seen a rush of executive orders and presidential actions that have touched on virtually every aspect of our society, from immigration enforcement to climate change, gender identity to the future of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The reality is that we do not yet know what many of these directives will mean for our campuses and our students, and we anticipate extensive litigation that will cover over time and will clarify their reach and implications. Yet, as we begin the spring semester, many students and faculty have expressed deep uncertainty about the impact of these changes in policy on their education at SUNY. Many students who are undocumented or who are from mixed status families are justifiably fearful for their future. Some of our LGBTQ+ students feel like their very identity is being denied by their government. Dedicated researchers have been told that grants that have spent years toiling over are suddenly terminated. Let me be clear about where we stand. SUNY is proud to count as a member of our community every one of our students, our faculty, and our staff members, no matter their religion, their nation of origin, or immigration status, their gender, their race or ethnicity, their sexual orientation or gender identity, or their political beliefs. We are proud of the groundbreaking research our campuses are leading, from international economic development to advanced battery power to eliminating health disparities. From our founding, SUNY's mission has been, quote, to provide to the people of New York educational services at the highest quality with the broadest possible access, fully representative of all segments of the population. We have no intention of backing away from that mission and its inherent commitment to a diverse and inclusive university and society. I, Chancellor King, also want to underscore the practical steps that campuses can and should be taking. As you know, the federal government has rescinded the long-standing sensitive areas policy that generally prevented immigration enforcement from occurring on college campuses and in our hospitals. Nevertheless, it is important to emphasize that New York State Executive Order 170.1, which has been continued by Governor Hochul, requires a judicial warrant or judicial order, not an administration warrant, for execution of civil arrests by federal immigration authorities within state facilities, including SUNY campuses. In addition, as we noted in the guidance provided to the state-operated campuses and the resource documents shared with community colleges, existing SUNY Board of Trustees policy that states, quote, The university will continue its long-standing practice of vigorously defending the privacy rights of students and requiring a subpoena, court order, search warrant, or other applicable exception to the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, such as a health and safety emergency or student waiver. Prior to releasing information to law enforcement about a student or group of students, this includes information about national origin, religion, and immigration status. So that's from the Board of Trustees for SUNY. If a student or any students on your campus have concerns about immigration-related issues, please encourage them to call the New York State Office for New Americans Hotline, which is 1-800-566-7636. So I'll just read that again quick. It's the New York State Office for New Americans Hotline, 1-800-566-7636, to access answers to immigration and naturalization questions and for referrals to free legal help and programs. In the coming weeks and months, there will be no doubt more federal changes that will impact our campuses and our students, and more clarity about these policies that have been put in place. We will work together to understand and navigate this changing landscape, to find the opportunities where we can, and to address the challenges. I continue to wake up, Dr. King, this is, every morning, believing deeply in the unique power of public higher education to strengthen the lives of our students and the health of our democracy. And I go to sleep each night proud of the work we are doing together at SUNY to tangibly deliver on these aspirations for the students we are privileged to serve. So thank you, as always, for your leadership and service. Sincerely, John B. King, the SUNY Chancellor. So that was his statement from January 28th after a series of executive orders. And as he noted, there will be additional executive orders. And so there's one more statement that just came out recently, and it's a statement from Chancellor King and the SUNY Board of Trustees together on Black History Month. So I'm just going to scroll down here. We will post these as well on the Senate site so that you have reference to them, and I will also include these statements from our Chancellor in the email I send out later this week so that you have them. All right, so news release, statement from Chancellor King and the SUNY Board of Trustees on Black History Month. So this was for immediate release 1 week ago. On behalf of the State University of New York, we are proud to celebrate Black History Month and recognize this year's theme of African Americans and labor. As the Association for the Study of African American Life and History notes, this important theme focuses on the various and profound ways that work and working of all kinds, free and unfree, skilled and unskilled, vocational and voluntary, intersect with the collective experiences of Black people. At SUNY, we recognize this legacy and honor SUNY's founding mission to provide the people of New York educational services of the highest quality with the broadest possible access, fully representative of all segments of the population. This year's Black History Month theme is a powerful reminder that teaching the truth about our history is integral to SUNY's commitment to academic excellence. We also recognize that SUNY's role as an engine of upward mobility is interwoven with the history and future of labor and economic opportunity. From our educational opportunity centers to our community colleges, to our bachelor's degree granting institutions, to our graduate and professional programs that award advanced degrees in cutting-edge fields. I'm sure as the semester continues, there will be more statements from Chancellor King to address different things that are happening in our government. And as those become available, I will use this platform to make sure to share it with all of you and all of you that are watching, as well as include it on our Senate site and in the monthly emails so that we're all aware of what to do if needed. So with that, I'm going, Dr. Sagai couldn't be here, so we're going to do an approval of the December 2024 Senate meeting minutes. So can I have a motion to approve? Tahira, second. Tom Webb. Any objections? All right, with no objections, we're going to accept them by consent. All right, so old business, we have quite a bit coming from our governance committee with Michael Rio. I'm going to turn it over to him. Michael?
All right, thank you. Governance has 4 documents on the agenda that went out with the meeting, and I'll just go through each of those and provide an update, and then we have a voting item. So the first document is the 2025 College Senate census results. Governance is charged with providing a census report once every 5 years, and the results are included, which will result in a loss of some Senate representation. We're losing a few seats. And I'll explain how that worked last time we did this and the recommendation moving forward for this election cycle. And I could address documents as they come up if that's easier. So the one I'm looking for is the report that's it's like a spreadsheet, and it has the colored columns that show our results from our census report. I could just do this too. Yeah, it's called 2025 College Senate Census Results. Yeah, awesome. Okay. For your information, yeah, so in the columns to the right are results of total faculty in each category, and we break down representation, constituency groups by campus and division. And when you see a loss in the red column, that's the raw total of seats that we will lose based on current calculation for representation, which is 1 representative for every 12 members in that constituency group. There is a bylaw that requires that faculty hold 60% of the elected seats in those categories for total representation in the entire Senate. So that 60% of elected faculty can only be met if we eliminate administrative representation, which we're not recommending, or we change the calculation so that there is 1 representative for every 10 faculty members in each category or constituency group, which is based again by campus, location, and division. So in the green column, the total seats that would remain with the change would be what we would be looking at for the next election cycle. And the total change is in that final column. So we lose 1 seat in Liberal Arts North, we lose 1 seat in Liberal Arts South, we lose 1 seat in Liberal Arts City, and everything else remains the same. So that is the recommendation. It requires a motion for the change to go into effect. We introduced the motion at the meeting today, and then 30 days from now at our next Senate meeting, we would vote on that motion. We could pull the motion off if we need to see the language, but if you have questions about the motion, you can bring those to the Senate floor at the next meeting when we open that for discussion. The request is that we change the representation, Article 5, Section 1B2, for every 10 members in those divisional seats by campus, rather than 12. And there was a similar motion in 2020 where with the original Senate charter or bylaws, we had 15 members represented by 1 senator initially. And as we lose faculty numbers, we have to make those adjustments. It's not an elegant way to keep up with attrition of faculty or empty seats or not filled vacancies, but that's where we are right now. And I could take questions now, but ideally or procedurally, those questions should come from the floor when the motion is voted on, but I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right, does anyone have any questions right at this moment? All right, so as Michael had indicated, this is a potential bylaw change. So per our bylaws, we need to introduce it 1 month ahead of voting on it. So we can still make changes between now and March if necessary. So you can email myself and Michael, and we can answer questions that way in between, tweak stuff if we feel that it needs to be done. It's pretty straightforward, like Michael had stated. We did this in 2020 under the similar circumstances. So it should be relatively straightforward, but also we have new senators as well, so it might not be as straightforward, right? So check it out. If you have questions, reach out to Michael and I, and this will be a voting item for March. Other things on...
Sure. So 2 of the documents are really just letting you know call for nominations happens today. If you are in a seat that's, your term is ending, you're on that list. If you are serving as a temporary appointment for a seat that you were assigned, you're on that list. So as temporary appointments year over year, they leave us with a pretty long list each time we come around to the election in the spring. So elections work for the Senate based on constituency groups first. So these are the divisional constituency groups. If it's crossed out in red, that means that seat will no longer exist if the bylaw doesn't pass. If that seat is crossed out in green, that means we only lose the green seats. Well, no, we keep the green seats, but we don't lose the red seats. Because we do have some loss, we're losing some seats. We lose them all if the motion doesn't pass. And the other list, call for nominations, just reminds you if you have a Senate term that's ending this year. So after divisional elections, at-large elections will take place, announced in April, and then those elections will happen before May. And then in May, officer elections are announced, and this year we'll be announcing elections for Senate Chair, Senate Vice Chair. And that happens in May. April at large, March, all this stuff. And so call for nominations has to come in by March 1st. Please send all nominations to senategovernance@ecc.edu. And if you are self-nominating, please do that as well. Self-nominations are encouraged. And the election happens on College Day. So whatever that date is on the calendar, it will be by electronic ballot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, I was going to open to questions. I have one more item,
go.
and then I'm good. Questions? Questions?
Questions? I want to just point out that if you are in at-large position right now, and your area is up for an elected position, you should put in for that elected position and not be an at-large member. Okay, so any of our at-large members, if one of your spots from your division is represented up here, you should nominate or have someone nominate you for that position over staying in at-large, because at-large is not a given. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, no, that's a really important point. You should be running for your constituency group first. So at-large, I'll send emails out to the at-large members. Those terms are also expiring, so we'll have 5 open at-large positions coming up next month, or well, the next month. We have 2 nominations to fill temporary appointments, and I'd like to put those forward. Jennifer Morrison, Amy Pistrin-Faust, to fill current vacancies. That's, I guess, we're just looking for a consensus. If there's an objection, please let us know.
All right, so Michael is making a motion to fulfill 2 vacant positions with Jennifer Morrison and Amy Pistrin-Faust. Do I have a second? Tom Webb, thank you. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Any objections? All right, so with that, the motion passes. So welcome to College Senate for the at-large position through May. So thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Academic Standards Committee does not have a report at this time, but I will make a general announcement as the Academic Standards co-chair. We are in need of additional leadership within the Artificial Intelligence Committee. Our previous chair has had to step down for personal reasons, and so we do need a chair for the Artificial Intelligence Committee, or task force, whatever, task force. So if you're interested in that, please just email me. That group is working in tandem with our academic integrity group. The task force should be wrapping up relatively soon as we envelope that into our academic integrity group. So it shouldn't be too much of a heavy lift. So if anyone is interested in helping us out with that, that'd be great. You can email me or come talk to me after the meeting. Or if you're watching at home and you're like, hey, that sounds cool, quinn@ecc.edu. Strategic enrollment management. Again, like I had said at the beginning of the meeting, Dr. Nealons was unable to be here. I have a flyer. Here it is. But we do have open house coming up. And of course, it's covering all the details. Let's see if that was worse. All right. Well, now you can see April 8th is at City, April 9th is at South, April 10th is at North. And it's from 4 to 6 p.m. at each of the campuses. Be there, be square. And the one thing I want to give a shout out to our, let's figure this out, hang on. There we go. To our admissions team. My son applied, and so not only did he apply, but he got a letter with the acceptance. He got a second letter that already told him what he is going to be going into for math and English, and he's gotten notifications from financial aid and the bursar's office to get him all hooked up and ready to go for the fall. So as a firsthand experience, I just was like, wow, this is fantastic, because we haven't gotten all of that from some of the other schools that he got into, like the one we haven't heard a thing from. So so shout out to Phil and his team. Thank you very much. And I can tell you, it's whatever they're doing, it's working, because it's been like clockwork. So thank you so much. And a lot of it has to do with these open houses that all of you work every semester to catch those kids and get them excited to come here. And it's great stuff. So thank you. Assessment Committee and the Teagle Grant, Dr. Sabrina Kane.
Okay, the assessment committee, just my usual plea, encourage everybody you know to get in their program competency assessments. We now have the site on Brightspace to submit those reports, and if anyone is confused about how to submit the reports on Brightspace because I've never done it before, feel free to give me a call and I'll just, pull up a WebEx and walk you through it. As for the Teagle grant, I would just like to thank the large number of faculty that we had involved in this process. We wrapped up our meetings that had to do with getting together our essential text list. We had the meeting that got together the essential questions, and we have submitted the first draft of our proposal to our Teagle liaison, and we're working with her now. So hopefully that process is going to go well with us. But I think that I'm super pleased about how everything turned out. I think everybody that was involved in it did a great job, and we all had a great time. And for those of you who were not, it's not too late. We'll still be looking for people to be involved. Just cross your fingers that we're going to get the implementation phase of the grant. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Chancellor's Awards, Kelly Knox.
Congratulations to our adjunct nominee, John O'Hare, who it was just announced. It was just announced that he won SUNY's Chancellor's Award for Adjunct Teaching. So congratulations. That was submitted in the fall, and we just got word, so congrats. The rest of the nominations were received and vetted and submitted to the President's office just this week. So for any of the other SUNY Chancellor's categories, and so I'm not sure when we hear about those, but once they are submitted by the President's office, they'll be received by the Chancellor's office and or SUNY, and we'll get word about those hopefully soon. So.
Trying to think if I remember correctly, the committee in the President's office gets notified at some point early summer-ish, and then we announce them on opening day for the fall semester. No, you're good. I was just like, actually, I know that answer. Sometimes I don't. I just happen to know that one. Thank you again to our Chancellor's Award team and everything that they had to do to get this stuff together. So we appreciate it. We also appreciate all the hard work of our nominators. As the nominator, you have to kind of pick up all of the pieces and make sure all the pieces are together for submission, which is time consuming, especially when you're chasing after people for different letters or et cetera, stuff like that. So thank you to our nominators, our committee, and all that. And it's one less thing off of our things to worry about for future of the semester. We got those done and in. Placement Testing Task Force, we have a final report. Michael Rio.
So the final report's included with Senate documents, and I'm happy or pleased to say that we're wrapping things up for that task force. We have a recommendation for EAL placement, and we will be following a CUNY model so we can borrow data and see how that works here. Moving forward, students will have a placement recommendation at the time they leave placement testing. Questions?
All right. Thank you, Michael, and to all those that were on our placement testing task force. We had some people retire and are no longer here with us, and definitely probably not watching. He's not like Michael Delaney, who would watch from afar, who's actually, I've been told, is no longer watching from afar. He's finally let go. So thank you for the final report for that. Does anyone have any old business that we didn't cover? Beautiful. New business. James Blackwell, you're up. He's got 3 in a row.
Yeah, I have a couple. And if it's okay with the Senate, I would just like to maybe add one item, which is an introduction of John Reinholtz as chief of our campus safety department. So I'll just have John come up and introduce himself. And while he walks up, I got to take a little shot at him. He is a self-proclaimed basketball player who refuses to play me one-on-one. So, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Come on up.
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. I know I've met several of you during the convocation. This is the first I'm hearing from James about basketball. He took this opportunity to sandbag me to make it look like I wouldn't play. I'm twice his age, but I'm sure I could still post them up. For those of you who I haven't met, it's a pleasure. I've been in a role similar to you all. I've been a professor. I'm an associate professor at Hilbert College for the past 10 years. I started teaching in higher ed in 2006 at Bryant and Stratton College after I retired from a full career with the New York State Police. I've loved and enjoyed my time as a college professor. I teach forensics, CSI, and criminal justice at Hilbert College. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy it a lot. I hope to continue teaching, but I'm really excited about coming over to SUNY Erie in this role as the VP of College Safety and Security. I came on as a consultant in the fall, and I don't know, you did something to me that made me decide to pursue it. I really enjoy it, and I hope I can help the college.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome to the team. All right, back to you, James.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
I come up with great ideas at the last second, so.
Don't we all?
My-
I'm working
my-
on changing my assignment that I'm doing tomorrow.
Well, there you go. Yeah, great minds.
Yeah.
So anyway, City Campus, the Atrium Skylight Project. For those of you who have been down there, it kind of looks like a big marshmallow exploded in the center of the atrium. that is going well, and we are still on schedule. Food services is still open. Library services are still open. Again, it's just that central atrium that is closed. So had a couple of hurdles naturally that we had to navigate through the first couple of weeks, but knock on wood, things are going smoothly. So moving on to our South Campus, update with our new facility. That is going well also. Again, we are on schedule, and per Dr. Sagai's maybe last address or the previous address, in the coming days, we will be sending out a flyer for another town hall type session for faculty and staff to come in and hear about progress, input, and all of the like. So there's that. Item number 3, I'm going to just kind of go with north location for projects that we have going on. This is an exciting time because there's a lot of projects that will be going on. There's a lot of investment coming into the college, which is exciting. So that way, when we get students coming here from all of the good work that everybody's doing, we can keep them here with our facilities and whatnot. So with that, the sports complex, we did receive our bids. Right now, we are navigating through the legislative process for final approval, so that way we can begin work on our sports complex field. For those of you who do not know, that sports complex field is going to be a multi-purpose synthetic turf field for football, soccer lines, softball. There'll be stadium seating, as well as lighting and a press box, and that's phase 1. So that's a very exciting investment, and it's very visible for really all of the community to see that we're here. There's going to be some work being done. I'm sorry, I'm just going to add a couple just so we're all out there.
Do it.
Sorry.
I was making sure that I didn't have more of your stuff on the next page.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if I told you everything I was going to talk about, you would have had like 3 pages worth. So, yeah. So for the gym out at North, there's a roof and air handler project that will be going on. Again, that's kind of working on the sustainability of that building and making it definitely a more enjoyable experience for those who are working in there and have classes. For the B building, I know that we've had some temperature issues and control, so as we go into the summer months, we'll be going to phase 2 of our project, and then at the conclusion of that, we should have a better control on the temperature. S building, we're doing air handler, unit ventilators, and exhaust. If you've been in the cafeteria, you know it can be a little warm during the summertime, so we'll be addressing that this summer. We have an exterior signage project that's going on. If you're driving around campus, you can see that like the maps are pretty faded out. And so the wayfinding on the exterior of the campus is being addressed. K building, the south side of K will be redone. Hallways, floors, paint. The lockers are going to be gone. We're going to be putting in unit ventilators. And that pretty much covers that for right now. I try to go through it somewhat fast, seeing as how I added on like 5 items. But there you go. I know. She probably thought that, man, this guy's never going to stop talking.
Like, is that why you're calling me? All right, so back to the agenda. We're going to have a visit from the Faculty Council of Community Colleges President Candace Vasson. She's going to be visiting on March 20th. We are developing an agenda, and we're going to send it out to all senators that perhaps maybe you can join us for a session to meet her, a listening session. She'd like to meet some of our faculty and staff that are involved in governance. She would like to meet some students, have some one-on-one with the Senate Executive Committee and some of our SES team. So we know Adium's day is cleared for that. I already checked with Gail and Adium, so we're good to go. So we'll just kind of look for that, and hopefully some portion of it you can join us. We're going to do a tour as well. So, and then Kathy Klesso informed me that we got mugs that we want to give her. She actually requested mugs with the SUNY Erie logo so that she could have them for her office with all the different schools that she visits. So Kathy found them and followed through. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. One less thing to do, right? So there we go. So look for more information for that. Statements from the SUNY Chancellor. I'm getting used to my bifocals. I just got them and forgot that this was down on the menu and did it at the top. So anyway, general education, Andy Heisey, civic discourse.
Sure. So we've known for the better part of a year that this was coming. It's actually one of 2 updates to the core competencies for the Gen Ed framework. Interestingly, the chancellor seems to see both of these updates as working together. This one, of course, is civic discourse. It's undergone a name change since its original, which was civil, in case you heard that before. Just to give you some idea of the language on this, it is blissfully vague. For civic discourse, students will demonstrate the discourse skills necessary to participate in civic life, including bullet point 1, the deliberation of ideas through reasoned inquiry that seeks new information and considers all viewpoints, 1. And bullet point 2, the ethical practice of advocacy, dissent, and dialogue that constructively attends to points of conflict. So it's going to be interesting deciding exactly how we're going to put that into practice, but we've got it, which is good, because again, we were waiting on this detail for some time. Like I said earlier, though, the other revision that we got had to do with some new language in the information literacy core competency, specifically language that now puts AI into that. It adds language saying that we need to talk to students about information from a variety of sources. And in addition to that, we also need to talk about information from traditional sources or emerging technologies such as AI. Now, King actually mentions the 2 of these things in what was most likely the same breath when he says that we are proud that every SUNY student will be expected to demonstrate the knowledge and skills that advance respectful and reasoned discourse, and that we will help our students recognize and ethically use AI as they consider various information sources, which is really saying that this is all a part of his larger goal of making every single SUNY graduate into someone who is fully ready to take a part in the civic environment around them.
Great. Any questions for Andy? Okay, so all the docs are posted on the Senate site under the Gen Ed minutes, and there's hyperlinks in there that'll take you to direct things such as this rubric here. I have one more thing to add to the new business. We got you should have all, I should say, gotten this email yesterday from the foundation. So the foundation is, it came yesterday evening. I think I've seen it posted around school as well. But SUNY Erie Celebrates Awards is coming up. It's in May, after the end of the semester, May 14th. It's a good time. It's a breakfast. It's delicious. And we honor fellow ECC grads and things. So you got a link that you can nominate. You can nominate more than one person. You can nominate alumni who have achieved success in their chosen career field. Students who demonstrate unconditional, unwavering, and selfless kindness. You can, oh, my computer wants to shut down, no. You can nominate faculty and staff whose extraordinary and creative service has contributed significantly to the college's mission to meet the needs of a diverse student body and contribute to regional economic vitality. But there's a link there, and so you go wild, right? We all know people that work hard here that should be getting more than a gold star or a pat on the back, right? People that you're like, man, how come that person hasn't gotten an award yet, right? So go ahead, nominate them up. You can do more than one. And like I said, the breakfast is beautiful. It's at the Admiral Room downtown. And there are tickets on sale as well through the foundation. But yeah, it's a good time. They also have vegan options. Just saying, in case that's you. And does anyone have any other new business? Brian Millville.
Yeah, it was part of my report, but I just wanted to give some detail on the updates to the college catalog. We had Kathy Colesto and Adrian and I, we talked about it, and we decided to make some updates to the catalog, and those were done by Lydia Moskovich at the end of December. Most of this stuff was minor fixes, updates to some verbiage and course descriptions along those lines. There was 4 addendums and newer things. We added a link to the transfer matrix. CR 220, criminal justice ethics, was approved in the DEISJ knowledge area by the Gen Ed committee. So we added that to the list in the catalog. And there was one new course that we wanted to add, EL 284, which is going to be being offered this semester for a new micro-credential called vacuum technology. So those are the 4 new things. Angelica and Erickson are working with the Modern Campus team to update the integration from the Find Your Program page on the website to the catalog, so hopefully that'll be resolved here shortly. The one thing I wanted to do, which I didn't tell Andy this before the meeting, but he'll forgive me later, if you don't mind, Colleen, can you go to the GAPS, the Gen Ed committee page on the GAP site? Just go to my ECC.
Oh, yeah.
You're fine from right there, and just go to academics.
There we go.
And governance and planning, excuse me, and then general education committee.
General education?
Yeah, not mine.
All right, sorry, I'm looking at you going CWCC.
You're good. So I wanted to just point out that on here, Andy's done a good job. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a link to a spreadsheet. Go down a little more, keep going, right there. Go ahead. You want to hit that. So that'll open up in a new tab. I wanted to point everybody to that. So that matches the catalog, but Andy does a good job of keeping that spreadsheet up to date, and everyone should think about that as the most current list. I just wanted to have that on record. So thank you, Andy. That is the old thing we used to have in the printed books at the back.
Okay.
The printed schedule.
Andy?
Just for the record, there's always also a printable version of that that's formatted so that it'll spit out. Right now it's on one side of an 8.5 by 11. I might have to go 2 sides eventually, but there it is. That's the most recent update.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. That's actually a great thing to know as we're gearing up for schedules for the fall semester, because we will be doing the open house, and then we will be obviously advising students for summer and fall sooner than we realize. So it's a great resource for everyone to have on hand. Loving that there's a printable version too. So thank you, gentlemen. Anyone else have anything for new business? All right, so the next College Senate meeting is, it probably says it at the bottom of the agenda, but the 11th of March. It's my favorite week, so dress accordingly. I'll accept green. Any math symbols, particularly pi. You can go with a Roman theme, because it's the Ides of March as well. So many options. So, you've been warned. So yeah, March 11th, we'll be here in this room. And then just as a note on the agenda, I'm going to find it. We did notice that we had a faculty caucus of the Senate scheduled for April, and then we realized it was spring break, so we said no. So it's off. So just FYI. So if anyone has that on your calendar, please take it off your calendar, faculty, because that link will not be live that day. We're going to all hopefully be getting some sunshine and vitamin D. All right, so with that, I'm going to close the online portion of the meeting. And when the camera is off, we will do the